On to Genesis chapter 29. So, this is all about Jacob right now. He's trying to believe in God, you know. God's giving him signs, all that good stuff. So, Jacob arrives in Paddan Aram. So Jacob hurried on, finally arriving in the land of the east. He saw in the distance 3 flocks of sheep lying in an open field, beside a well, waiting to be watered, but a heavy stone covered the mouth of the well. It was the custom there to wait for all the flocks to arrive before removing the stone. After watering them, the stone would be rolled back over the mouth of the well. Jacob went over to the shepherds and asked them, "Where do you live?" "At Haran," they said. "Do you know a man there named Laban, the grandson of Nahor?" "Yes, we do," they replied. "How is he?" Jacob asked. "He's well and prosperous. Look, here comes his daughter Rachel with the sheep. Why don't you water the flocks so they can get back to grazing?" Jacob asked, "They'll be hungry if you stop so early in the day." "We don't roll away the stone and begin watering until all the flocks and shepherds are here," they replied. As this conversation was going on, Rachel arrived with her father's sheep, for she was a shepherd, and because she was his cousin, the daughter of his mother's brother, and because the sheep were his uncle's, Jacob went over to the well and rolled away the stone and watered his uncle's flock. Then Jacob kissed Rachel, and tears came to his eyes. He explained that he was her cousin on her father's side, her aunt Rebekah's son. So Rachel quickly ran and told her father Laban. As soon as Laban heard about Jacob's arrival, he rushed out to meet him and greeted him warmly. Laban then brought him home, and Jacob told him his story. "Just think, my very own flesh and blood," Laban exclaimed. It's not like nowadays where you can just call up your family member and there you are. There you are with visiting your family member, you know. You call them up, say hello, you know, all that good stuff. It might have taken years to see each other, you know. That's what I want to do these days. Instead of calling up someone, I just want to fly there and visit them, you know. Because phone calls are good, but you know what? In general, if you want to see someone, why not just go visit them? You know, old school way. Phones are good, but seeing them in person, spending time with them, having a meal with them, all that fun stuff, I think that's the way to do it. Something I've been lacking in my life, which I should do more, on the weekends or something, maybe go down to other places, see family, and then come back. So something I should do, and we should all do maybe. After Jacob had been there for a month, Laban said to him, "You shouldn't work for me without pay just because we're relatives. How much do you want?" Now Laban had 2 daughters, Leah, who was the oldest, and his younger sister Rachel. Leah had pretty eyes, but Rachel was beautiful in every way, with a lovely face and shapely figure. Since Jacob was in love with Rachel, he told her father, "I'll work for you 7 years if you give me Rachel, your younger daughter, as my wife." That's a long time, 7 years. Agreed, Laban replied. "I'd rather give her to you than someone outside the family." So Jacob spent the next 7 years working to pay for Rachel. But his love for her was so strong that it seemed to him but a few days. Finally the time came for him to marry her. I have fulfilled my contract," Jacob said to Laban. "Now give me my wife so we can be married." So Laban invited everyone in the neighborhood to celebrate with Jacob, at a wedding feast. That night, when it was dark, Laban took Leah to Jacob, and he slept with her. And Laban gave Leah a servant, Zilpah, to be her maid. But when Jacob woke up in the morning, it was Leah. Whoa. But when Jacob woke up in the morning, it was Leah. What sort of trick is this? Jacob raged at Laban. I worked 7 years for Rachel. What do you mean by this trickery? It's not our custom to marry off a younger daughter ahead of the firstborn, Laban replied. Wait until the bridal week is over and you can have Rachel too. That is, if you promise to work another 7 years for me. Wow. So he didn't even tell him about the firstborn in general. He just was like, I wanted Rachel, and he didn't say anything. He just gave him Leah. I guess Jacob was drunk out of his mind or something and didn't realize. It's interesting. You can just pass up somebody, a human being, and say, she's yours, Very different from the Western world. Maybe it's different from a lot of the world, but seems easier, Don't have to date. You just say, hey, I would like her, and that's that, That's kind of stalkerish now, creepy, whatever you want to call it nowadays. Can't do that. Can't do that at all. Another 7 years, that's 14 years, So Jacob agreed to work 7 more years. 14 years. Isn't that crazy? I guess it didn't really matter. They all lived to be like 300 years old anyways. So Jacob agreed to work 7 more years, a week after Jacob had married Leah. Laban gave him Rachel too, and Laban gave Rachel a servant, Bilhah, to be her maid. So Jacob slept with Rachel too, and he loved her more than Leah. He then stayed and worked the additional 7 years. But because Leah was unloved, the Lord let her have a child, while Rachel was childless. Isn't that interesting? God is letting this happen, multiple wives, stuff like that. Just interesting. So you think about what religion allows multiple wives these days. How it's so taboo now, but maybe as we read further it won't be, but just interesting to say the least how it's acceptable, So just think about the religion that allows multiple wives, and right now we can run with that, So Leah became pregnant and had a son. She named him Reuben, for she said, the Lord has noticed my misery, and now my husband will love me. She soon became pregnant again and had another son. She named him Simeon, so Simeon and Reuben. For she said, the Lord has heard that I was unloved, and has given me another son. Again she became pregnant and had a son. She named him Levi, for she said, surely now my husband will feel affection for me, since I have given him 3 sons. Once again she became pregnant and had another son. She named him Judah, for she said, I will praise the Lord, and then she stopped having children. So you might think about it as another way. The Lord realized that, who was it, Jacob? Jacob didn't really care for Leah, and he had to marry her because of the family stuff. But he ultimately just loved Rachel. And Leah was just there just to be there, married, but Jacob didn't pay attention to her, So God saw that, and God's all loving, and he decided to just give her 4 sons. So that's that with this chapter, chapter 29. It keeps on going. So it's not really over, but chapter 30 we'll start talking about Rachel next when it comes to the children and things like that. And we'll go from there. So that's the end of chapter 29.